a major turning point, establishing British dominance and changing the region's future forever. The Treaty of Paris, 1763, officially ended the conflict between France and Britain. France ceded most of its Canadian territories to Britain, transforming Canada into a British colony and beginning new political, cultural, and social changes across the nation. On July 1, 1867, Canada became a self-governing dominion through confederation. 4 provinces, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, united to form a new nation under British rule, setting the stage for modern Canada's democratic and peaceful evolution. The Canadian Pacific Railway, completed in 1885, linked eastern and western provinces. Built through harsh conditions, it symbolized national unity and expansion, connecting remote regions and enabling trade, immigration, and the growth of Canada as one vast country. Following Confederation, new provinces and territories joined Canada: Manitoba, British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Newfoundland, and others. This expansion reflected unity, diversity, and the desire to build a strong nation spanning from the Atlantic. From the late 1800s to early 1900s, immigrants arrived from Europe, Asia, and beyond. They sought new lives in Canada, working in farms, factories, and railways, shaping the nation's diverse cultural and social identity. Canada's participation in World Wars I and II forged a strong national identity. Canadian troops fought bravely at battles like Vimy Ridge and Normandy, earning international respect and moving Canada toward full independence and global recognition. Today, Canada celebrates diversity. People of different ethnicities, religions, and languages coexist peacefully, reflecting centuries of immigration. Festivals, food, and art from around the world enrich modern Canada, making multiculturalism a defining national value. Ottawa's Parliament Hill stands as a symbol of democracy and unity. Built in the 19th century, it represents Canada's evolution from colony to self-governing nation, where leaders shape policies protecting freedom, equality, and national identity. In 1982, the Constitution Act granted Canada full sovereignty from Britain. Signed by Queen Elizabeth II and Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, it included the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, ensuring justice, equality, and liberty for all Canadians. Jaimin people were among Japan's earliest settlers, living as hunter-gatherers and creating some of the world's oldest pottery. Their clay vessels reflect spiritual beliefs, artistic creativity, and the foundations of early Japanese culture long before farming societies emerged. The Yayoi period introduced wet rice agriculture, metal tools, and organized villages to Japan. This era transformed society from hunter-gatherers to farmers, creating social classes, stronger leadership, and new technologies that shaped Japan's early civilization and economic structure. The Kofun period saw powerful clan rulers constructing massive keyhole-shaped tombs. These burial mounds symbolized rising political authority, early unification, and advanced engineering skills that marked Japan's movement towards centralized governance and a more organized society. During the Asuka and Nara periods, Japan adopted Buddhism from Korea and China. Monks brought scriptures, architecture, and artistic styles. Buddhism reshaped Japan's spiritual life, influenced government structures, and blended with native Shinto beliefs to form a unique religious identity. The Heian era created Japan's classical culture, known for elegance, literature, and refined aristocratic life. Nobles wrote poetry, developed calligraphy, and produced the tale of Genji. This period shaped Japan's aesthetic traditions and cultural values for centuries. The Kamakura shogunate was Japan's first military government, led by samurai. This era established warrior rule, strict discipline, and new political systems. Samurai culture flourished, influencing ethics, honor codes, and Japan's future military structure. In 1274 and 1281, Mongol forces attempted to conquer Japan. Samurai defended the coasts fiercely, while storms, later called kamikaze, destroyed the Mongol fleets. These events strengthened Japan's confidence and shaped national mythology around divine protection. The Muromachi period refined Japanese arts, including the tea ceremony, no theater, and ink painting. The tea ceremony emphasized simplicity, mindfulness, and beauty in imperfection, reflecting Zen Buddhist influence and shaping Japanese cultural identity. The Sengoku era was marked by fierce battles between rival warlords seeking control. Constant warfare reshaped Japan's political landscape, producing legendary samurai and creating the conditions that eventually unified the country under powerful military leaders. Oda Nobunaga was a revolutionary daimyo who used new tactics and firearms to conquer rivals. His leadership weakened traditional powers, modernized warfare, and paved the way for Japan's unification, though his ambitions ended when he was betrayed. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan enjoyed over 2 centuries of peace and stability. Edo became a bustling city with merchants, artisans, and geisha. Strict social systems maintained order while culture, theater, and literature thrived. During the Edo era, Japan adopted the Sakoku policy, limiting foreign contact for over 200 years. This isolation preserved Japanese culture, prevented colonization, and allowed internal development, though it also slowed technological advancement compared to Western powers. In 1853, Commodore Perry's arrival forced Japan to open its ports after centuries of isolation. This shock weakened the shogunate, sparked internal unrest, and pushed Japan toward rapid modernization during the Meiji Restoration. The Meiji Restoration transformed Japan into a modern state. The government adopted Western technology, built railways, reformed education, and modernized its military. Within decades, Japan emerged as an industrialized global power. After World War II, Japan rebuilt its devastated cities with American support. New industries, democratic reforms, and technological innovation drove rapid recovery. By the 1960s, Japan had become one of the world's leading economic powers. Jaimin people were among Japan's earliest settlers, living as hunter-gatherers and creating some of the world's oldest pottery. Their clay vessels reflect spiritual beliefs, artistic creativity, and the foundations of early Japanese culture long before farming societies emerged. The Yayoi period introduced wet rice agriculture, metal tools, and organized villages to Japan. This era transformed society from hunter-gatherers to farmers, creating social classes, stronger leadership, and new technologies that shaped Japan's early civilization and economic structure. The Kofun period saw powerful clan rulers constructing massive keyhole-shaped tombs. These burial mounds symbolized rising political authority, early unification, and advanced engineering skills that marked Japan's movement towards centralized governance and a more organized society. During the Asuka and Nara periods, Japan adopted Buddhism from Korea and China. Monks brought scriptures, architecture, and artistic styles. Buddhism reshaped Japan's spiritual life, influenced government structures, and blended with native Shinto beliefs to form a unique religious identity. The Heian era created Japan's classical culture, known for elegance, literature, and refined aristocratic life. Nobles wrote poetry, developed calligraphy, and produced the tale of Genji. This period shaped Japan's aesthetic traditions and cultural values for centuries. The Kamakura shogunate was Japan's first military government, led by samurai. This era established warrior rule, strict discipline, and new political systems. Samurai culture flourished, influencing ethics, honor codes, and Japan's future military structure. In 1274 and 1281, Mongol forces attempted to conquer Japan. Samurai defended the coasts fiercely, while storms, later called kamikaze, destroyed the Mongol fleets. These events strengthened Japan's confidence and shaped national mythology around divine protection. The Muromachi period refined Japanese arts, including the tea ceremony, no theater, and ink painting. The tea ceremony emphasized simplicity, mindfulness, and beauty in imperfection, reflecting Zen Buddhist influence and shaping Japanese cultural identity. The Sengoku era was marked by fierce battles between rival warlords seeking control. Constant warfare reshaped Japan's political landscape, producing legendary samurai and creating the conditions that eventually unified the country under powerful military leaders. Oda Nobunaga was a revolutionary daimyo who used new tactics and firearms to conquer rivals. His leadership weakened traditional powers, modernized warfare, and paved the way for Japan's unification, though his ambitions ended when he was betrayed. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan enjoyed over 2 centuries of peace and stability. Edo became a bustling city with merchants, artisans, and geisha. Strict social systems maintained order while culture, theater, and literature thrived. During the Edo era, Japan adopted the Sakoku policy, limiting foreign contact for over 200 years. This isolation preserved Japanese culture, prevented colonization, and allowed internal development, though it also slowed technological advancement compared to Western powers. In 1853, Commodore Perry's arrival forced Japan to open its ports after centuries of isolation. This shock weakened the shogunate, sparked internal unrest, and pushed Japan toward rapid modernization during the Meiji Restoration. The Meiji Restoration transformed Japan into a modern state. The government adopted Western technology, built railways, reformed education, and modernized its military. Within decades, Japan emerged as an industrialized global power. After World War II, Japan rebuilt its devastated cities with American support. New industries, democratic reforms, and technological innovation drove rapid recovery. By the 1960s, Japan had become one of the world's leading economic powers. Early Germany was home to independent Germanic tribes living in dense forests. They relied on hunting, farming, and warfare. Their culture shaped early Europe and created the foundation for later German identity long before any unified nation existed. In 9 AD, Germanic warriors led by Arminius destroyed 3 Roman legions in the Teutoburg forest. This defeat prevented Rome from conquering German lands, protecting tribal independence and shaping the future cultural and political borders of Central Europe. Charlemagne united much of Western and Central Europe, ruling a powerful empire that influenced German identity. His coronation began the connection between German lands and imperial rule, shaping medieval politics and culture for centuries across the region. The Holy Roman Empire was a loose collection of German-speaking states ruled by an emperor. It lasted nearly 1,000 years, shaping medieval Germany through regional princes, free cities, and religious power, while lacking strong central authority. Martin Luther challenged the Catholic Church by posting his 95 Theses in 1517. His actions triggered the Protestant Reformation, dividing Christianity and reshaping German politics, religion, and society for centuries, influencing education, governance, and personal freedoms. The 30 Years' War devastated German lands between 1618 and 1648. It began as a religious conflict and grew into a major European war, destroying towns, reducing populations, and weakening the Holy Roman Empire's influence. Prussia grew from a small kingdom into a disciplined military power. Its efficient army, strong leadership, and reforms made it the leading German state, eventually paving the way for German unification under Prussian control. Otto von Bismarck used strategy, diplomacy, and 3 wars to unite the German states. His leadership created the German Empire in 1871, establishing a powerful new nation that reshaped European politics. In 1871, German states united after victory against France. Kaiser Wilhelm I was proclaimed emperor in Versailles, marking the birth of the German Empire, a new industrial and military powerhouse in Europe. Germany rapidly industrialized in the late 1800s, building factories, railways, and modern machinery. This boom transformed cities, strengthened the economy, and positioned Germany as a major global industrial power before the World Wars. German soldiers fought brutal trench warfare in World War I, facing mud, barbed wire, and constant artillery fire. The war brought massive losses and hardship, ultimately leading to Germany's defeat and the end of its empire. After World War I, Germany formed the Weimar Republic. Despite economic crisis and political unrest, the 1920s saw cultural creativity, jazz, art, and cinema flourish, making Berlin a symbol of modern European culture. In the 1930s, economic crisis and political instability helped the Nazi Party gain control. Through propaganda and mass rallies, they built a dictatorship that led Germany into World War II and caused immense global destruction. In 1989, East Germans peacefully protested for freedom. The Berlin Wall fell as thousands celebrated, marking the end of communist rule in East Germany and symbolizing the collapse of the Cold War division. Since reunification in 1990, Germany has become a stable democracy and Europe's strongest economy. Modern Germany values peace, human rights, innovation, and global cooperation while honoring lessons learned from its complex history.
The story of Albania begins with the Illyrians, one of the most ancient Indo-European peoples to inhabit the Balkan Peninsula. The Illyrians settled in what is now modern Albania around 2000 BC and developed a distinctive culture, complete with their language, art, and social structures. Their territory extended across present-day Albania, Kosovo, Montenegro, and parts of neighboring countries. One of the most famous Illyrian queens was Tuta, who reigned in the 3rd century BCE. She was known for her strong leadership and naval prowess. The Illyrians' interactions with the Greek and Roman worlds profoundly influenced their culture and economy, as trade and cultural exchanges brought new ideas and technologies to the region. Roman rule and Byzantine influence. In 168 BCE, the Roman Republic initiated its conquest of Illyria, and over time, the Illyrian lands became an integral part of the Roman Empire. The Romans left a lasting imprint on the region, building roads, bridges, and cities like Dyrrhachium, modern Durrës, and Apollonia. The introduction of Latin and the spread of Christianity also played a significant role in shaping the cultural landscape of the Roman Empire. Albania fell under the sway of the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantines maintained control for centuries, and the Orthodox Christian faith became deeply rooted in the region. The Byzantine influence can still be seen today in Albania's religious architecture and iconography. Medieval Albania, invasion and occupation. The Middle Ages were a tumultuous period for Albania, marked by invasions, occupations, and shifting political allegiances. In the 7th century, the Slavs began to migrate into the Balkans, which led to conflicts with the indigenous population. The Byzantine Empire and various Bulgarian states vied for control over the region, leaving it divided along ethnic and religious lines. In the late 13th century, the Kingdom of Serbia expanded into Albanian territories, and the Albanians faced a new wave of foreign rule. This era saw the emergence of noble families, such as the Castrioti, who would later play a pivotal role in Albania's struggle for independence. Skanderbeg and the Albanian resistance. One of the most iconic figures in Albanian history is Gjorgj Castrioti, known as Skanderbeg. Born in 1405, Skanderbeg was a nobleman who had been taken as a hostage by the Ottoman Empire as a child. However, he later defected and returned to Albania, where he led a successful resistance against Ottoman rule. From 1443 to 1468, Skanderbeg and his forces waged a relentless campaign against the Ottomans. His leadership and military tactics earned him the admiration of European powers and inspired Albanians to rally around the cause of independence. After Skanderbeg's death, the Ottomans gradually reasserted control over Albania, but his legacy lived on as a symbol of Albanian national pride. Ottoman rule and cultural preservation. For nearly 4 centuries, Albania remained under Ottoman rule, a period that deeply influenced its culture, language, and religion. Despite this prolonged occupation, the Albanian people managed to preserve their distinct identity. The Albanian language, a testament to this resilience, is one of the oldest surviving Indo-European languages and a point of pride for Albanians. During the Ottoman era, many Albanians converted to Islam, while others remained Christian. This religious diversity has been a defining characteristic of Albanian society, contributing to its unique cultural fabric. Additionally, the Albanians played a significant role in the Ottoman administration, producing prominent figures within the empire. The Albanian national awakening. The 19th century witnessed the rise of nationalism across Europe, and Albania was no exception. The Albanian National Awakening, or Rilinja, was a cultural and political movement that sought to assert Albanian identity and autonomy. Intellectuals and scholars, such as Naim Frashëri and Fejt Konica, played a crucial role in fostering a sense of national consciousness. The Congress of Manchester in 1908 was a pivotal moment in the history of the Albanian language. It standardized the Albanian alphabet and promoted the use of the language in education and publications. This linguistic unification was a crucial step in the development of a modern Albanian national identity. Independence and the interwar period. The early 20th century brought significant changes to Albania. In 1912, Albania declared its independence from the Ottoman Empire, with Ismail Kamali leading the movement. However, this newfound sovereignty was short-lived as various European powers, including Italy and Austria-Hungary, exerted influence over the country. The interwar period saw political instability and territorial disputes, but it also witnessed efforts to modernize the nation. Albania adopted a democratic constitution in 1920 and implemented social and economic reforms. King Zogaj ruled from 1928 until the Italian invasion in 1939, which marked the beginning of World War II and Albania's occupation by Italy and later Nazi Germany. Communist era, Enver Hoxha's reign. After World War II, Albania emerged from the conflict under communist rule led by Enver Hoxha. Hoxha, who ruled for over 4 decades, implemented a harsh Stalinist regime characterized by isolationism, purges, and the suppression of religion. Albania became one of the most closed-off and secretive nations in the world during this time. Hoxha's policies had a profound impact on Albania's society and economy. The country was virtually cut off from the outside world, and its people endured economic hardship and political repression. The dictator's death in 1985 marked the beginning of a period of liberalization and political reform. Post-communist transition and challenges. With the fall of communism in Eastern Europe in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Albania underwent a rapid transformation. The transition to a democratic system was marked by political turmoil, economic struggles, and social upheaval. The collapse of the pyramid scheme investment schemes in the late 1990s led to a period of unrest and international intervention. Despite these challenges, Albania gradually made progress in its democratic development and sought closer ties with Western institutions, including NATO and the European Union. The early 21st century witnessed economic growth, infrastructural development, and improvements in living standards. Modern Albania, a bright future. As of the knowledge cutoff date in September 2021, Albania was on a trajectory toward further integration with Europe and continued economic development. The country had made significant strides in improving its infrastructure, education system, and healthcare services. Tourism was also on the rise, with visitors drawn to Albania's stunning natural beauty, historic sites, and warm hospitality.
The history of Albania is a testament to the resilience and enduring spirit of its people. From its ancient Illyrian roots to the challenges of the modern era, Albania has navigated a complex tapestry of foreign rule, political upheaval, and cultural transformation. Today, Albania stands as a sovereign nation with a rich heritage, diverse culture, and a promising future on the European stage. Its journey through time continues to be a source of inspiration and pride for Albanians and a fascinating chapter in the history of the Balkans.
Napoleon Bonaparte's rapid ascent through the ranks of the French military had already made him a prominent figure in the tumultuous era of the French Revolution. By 1798, he had achieved the rank of general and had amassed a substantial following due to his military successes in Italy. However, his ambitions extended beyond continental Europe, and he was eager to establish his own empire. With this goal in mind, he set his sights on Egypt, a land that held both historical significance and strategic value. Napoleon's decision to launch an expedition to Egypt was not purely motivated by territorial expansion. Several factors contributed to this audacious endeavor. First, Egypt was seen as a gateway to the wealth of the Orient, a land of ancient civilizations and untold treasures. Second, it was strategically located at the crossroads of Asia, Africa, and Europe, which made it a crucial piece of the geopolitical puzzle of the time. The French government, under the Directory, also believed that an Egyptian campaign could help divert Napoleon's immense popularity and ambitions away from domestic politics. C is scientific and cultural exploration. An often overlooked aspect of the Egyptian campaign was its strong emphasis on scientific and cultural exploration. Accompanying Napoleon's army were a group of savants, scholars from various fields, including archaeology, botany, and engineering. Their mission was to study and document the ancient and exotic culture of Egypt, uncovering its mysteries and historical treasures. The discoveries made during this time had a lasting impact on European understanding of Egypt and the broader study of Egyptology. 2. The departure and arrival. In May 1798, a massive French fleet under Napoleon's command, known as the Armée d'Orient, set sail from Toulon, France, and embarked on the Egyptian campaign. The French Armada was an impressive sight, consisting of hundreds of ships and over 30,000 soldiers, including infantry, cavalry, and artillery. Their journey to Egypt was fraught with challenges, from battling British naval forces to dealing with harsh weather and logistical issues. Nevertheless, the fleet managed to reach the coast of Egypt and, on July 1, 1798, the French forces landed at Marabou, near Alexandria. A Battle of the Pyramids. Napoleon's arrival in Egypt was met with little resistance. The local Mamluk rulers, who had long been in power, initially offered little opposition to the French invaders. However, this period of calm did not last long, as Napoleon's forces began their march towards Cairo. On July 21, 1798, the French and the Mamluks clashed at the Battle of the Pyramids, near the Giza Plateau. The Battle of the Pyramids is a significant episode in the Egyptian campaign. Napoleon's well-trained and disciplined troops, armed with modern weaponry, faced the Mamluk cavalry. The French army's tactics and firepower proved decisive, and they emerged victorious. The Mamluks suffered heavy casualties, and their power in Egypt was severely diminished. The Siege of Alexandria. With the Mamluks largely defeated, Napoleon turned his attention to the strategic city of Alexandria. In March 1799, the French laid siege to the city, which was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. The siege dragged on for several months and involved intense fighting and naval bombardments. However, in August 1799, the French finally captured the city, further solidifying their control over Egypt. 3. The Battle of the Nile. While Napoleon was consolidating his rule in Egypt, a significant naval engagement was unfolding in the Mediterranean. This battle would come to be known as the Battle of the Nile and would have far-reaching consequences for the French campaign in Egypt. 8. The British Challenge. The British Royal Navy, under the command of Admiral Horatio Nelson, was determined to thwart Napoleon's plans in Egypt. In August 1798, the British fleet intercepted the French Armada in Abu Qir Bay. The resulting Battle of the Nile was a pivotal moment in the campaign. The battle unfolds. The Battle of the Nile was a brutal and hard-fought engagement. Nelson's innovative tactics, which involved a daring and unexpected approach, took the French by surprise. The battle raged for several hours, and both sides suffered heavy losses. Ultimately, the British emerged victorious, with the French fleet suffering significant damage and loss of life. The defeat at the Battle of the Nile was a devastating blow to Napoleon's Egyptian campaign. It not only severed his communication with France but also left his forces in Egypt isolated and vulnerable. The British blockade of the Egyptian coast further isolated the French, making resupply and reinforcement difficult. 4. The struggles in Egypt. With the British Navy blockading the coast and the Ottoman Empire preparing to retake Egypt, Napoleon found himself facing increasing challenges. The French occupation of Egypt had sparked local resistance, and Napoleon had to deal with a series of uprisings and insurrections. Moreover, his troops faced diseases such as the bubonic plague, which took a heavy toll on their ranks. Ottoman threat. In early 1799, the Ottoman Empire declared war on France, seeing an opportunity to drive the French out of Egypt. The Ottomans, under the leadership of Grand Vizier Yusuf Pasha, launched an invasion of Egypt with the support of the British. This marked a significant turning point in the campaign. Battle of Mount Tabor. Napoleon's response to the Ottoman threat was swift and effective. He defeated the Ottoman forces in the Battle of Mount Tabor in April 1799. This victory temporarily halted the Ottoman advance into Egypt and secured French control over the region. However, the overall situation remained precarious, with the British blockade still in place. The elusive triumph. Napoleon's stay in Egypt was marked by both triumphs and tribulations. He implemented various reforms and modernization efforts in the country, which had a lasting impact on Egypt's development. His campaign also contributed to the development of Egyptology, with scholars studying and documenting the ancient culture and monuments of Egypt. However, as the situation in Europe changed with the rise of new coalitions and alliances, Napoleon's focus shifted away from Egypt. In August 1799, he departed Egypt for France, leaving the campaign in the hands of his subordinates. This marked the beginning of the end of the Egyptian campaign as Napoleon turned his attention to his political ambitions in France. The end of the Egyptian campaign. As Napoleon left Egypt, the campaign faced further challenges. French forces in Egypt, led by generals such as Jean-Baptiste Kleber, continued to face the Ottoman threat. The situation deteriorated, and the French position in Egypt became increasingly untenable. In March 1801, Kleber signed the Convention of Alexandria, which led to the withdrawal of French forces from Egypt under certain conditions. However, the terms of the Convention of Alexandria were not fully honored, and in June 1801, Kleber was assassinated by a discontented Syrian. This event plunged the French expedition into further chaos. Nevertheless, the British, under the command of General Ralph Abercrombie, succeeded in defeating the French and the remaining Mamluks at the Battle of Alexandria in March 1801. The defeat at Alexandria marked the end of the Egyptian campaign for the French. In September 1801, a final agreement, the capitulation of Alexandria, was signed, leading to the evacuation of French troops from Egypt. 6. The legacy of Napoleon's Egyptian campaign. Impact on Egypt. Napoleon's campaign had a profound and lasting impact on Egypt. While it was a short-lived episode in Egyptian history, it brought about significant changes. The introduction of modern European concepts and technologies, as well as the study of ancient Egypt, contributed to the country's development and cultural heritage. The influence of the French campaign is still visible in Egypt today, particularly in the field of Egyptology and the study of its rich history. The rise of Napoleon. While the Egyptian campaign did not achieve its primary goal of securing Egypt as a base for French expansion into the Middle East, it had a significant impact on Napoleon's career. Despite the campaign's ultimate failure, Napoleon managed to turn it into a story of heroism and daring, which further increased his popularity in France. In 1799, he staged a coup and became first consul, consolidating his power and setting the stage for his later proclamation as emperor. Shifting European alliances. The French campaign in Egypt also had broader implications for the European balance of power. Napoleon's absence from Europe during the campaign had allowed his enemies to regroup and form new alliances. By the time he returned to France in 1799, the political landscape had shifted dramatically. The campaign indirectly contributed to the rise of the Second Coalition against France and the subsequent European conflicts known as the Napoleonic Wars. The influence of Egyptomania. Napoleon's expedition to Egypt, with its accompanying scholars and discoveries, fueled a wave of Egyptomania in Europe. The fascination with ancient Egypt's culture and artifacts influenced art, fashion, and architecture during the late 18th and early 19th centuries. The Rosetta Stone, discovered by French scholars in 1799, played a crucial role in deciphering hieroglyphics and further deepening European interest in Egyptology.
Napoleon's Egyptian campaign was a daring and audacious venture that had profound and far-reaching consequences. It combined military objectives with cultural exploration, leaving an indelible mark on the history of Egypt and the broader geopolitical landscape of Europe. While the campaign did not result in a lasting French presence in Egypt, its impact on the study of Egyptology and the rise of Napoleon as a political force cannot be overstated. The Egyptian campaign remains a captivating chapter in the annals of military history, a story of ambition, struggle, and discovery that continues to intrigue and inspire to this day.